Kalkadosh Boker Or Daf Yomi Masechet Makkot Daf Yoda Mudalef 10a1 says the Gemara. We were talking about yesterday. How was it that it made sense that you had three cities of refuge, Ever Yarden, meaning on the other side of the Jordan River, and three right parallel in the land of Israel, inside the land of Eretz Canaan, and inside the land of Eretz Israel, there were 9.5 tribes. And on the other side, there were 3.5 tribes. So what's going on? So the answer is the Gemara, Begilad, which is on the east side of the Yarden, of the Jordan River, there was a lot of murders. Right? But it says a pasuk dichtiv Gilad Kiryat Pole Avin al Kuba Midam Maya Kuba Midam Rabbi Elazar Shayu Kvin La Arog Nefashot. They were trapping people. They were right, putting them into setups in order to kill them. So says the Gemara, Umayshna Mehai Gisa Umehai Gisa Temerachake. He says, why is it, right, that they're going to come and it's going to cause, right, the difference? He says like this. He says, mitzia in the middle, in the merkaz, it's going to be very, very close by, right? But on the two extents, right, then it's going to be very further away. So, for example, if you're going to come and you're going to take it from the southern border or the northern border, right? So from there to the city of refuge, it's going to be very far. But from the middle one, it's going to be very close. What's going on? So Abaye says, "B'Shechem nami shchichi rotzchim." Says in Shechem, there's also a lot of meaning that the truth is Chaval that doesn't have a picture, right? Basically, you have the land of Israel, right? And then you have Ever Yarden, and you have the land of Israel. So, you have the picture. Because basically the question is, why is it that from the bottom to the cities, it's a long distance? And all of a sudden Shechem is right in the middle, it's very close by to the other cities. Doesn't make sense. So he says in Shechem also there's a lot of murders. Tichtiv, ish kidudim chever kohanim derech yiratzchu Shechema, which means, right, you want to send me up the picture, doctor? Yeah? Which means that since in Shechem there's a lot of them, that's why they had to put it right beside Shechem, right? Or put it on the Daf Yomi chat that we have. Okay, so that's what it says. That since again in Shechem there was a lot of murders, so therefore they needed it right in Shechem, the city of refuge. Okay, so what does it mean now, Chever Kohanim? So he says right for sure that the Kohanim were not Rotzchim. So what does it mean the Chever Kohanim? Right? So he says, "Amar Rabbi Elazar, שהיו מתחברים להרוג נפשות, כי כהנים הללו מתחברים לחלוק תרומות בית הגרנות." Says just like the Kohanim, they get together in order to come and to divide the food in the Bet Agranot, so too they used to get together to murder people. It was like groups of people that would murder. Okay. The two leka, you're going to tell me now that there's no other Arem Miklat? Because according to this, how many Arem Miklat were there? Six. Yeah, well, there's only six. Exactly, 3 and 3. Vaktiv it's written, it was 42 cities. Besides the six, there was another 42. He says, Abaye says, you're right. Halalu kolto ben ladat ben shlo ladat, halalu ladat kolto shlo ladat. He says like this. The six Arem Miklat, they are collet whether you know about them or not. Meaning if the six collet means it protects you. It gives you like a protection. Right? The Miklat is a city of refuge. When there are bombs, where do you run? So the Miklat, what's the Miklat? A place of refuge, a place of protection. So therefore, he says they are koltot. It protects you whether you knew about it or you didn't know about it. Meaning, if you come into whether it's going to be Betzer, Ramot, Golan, right? All these Kedesh, Shechem, Hebron. When you go in there, whether you knew the city of Miklat or not, it protects you. Why? Ben Ladad, Ben Shalom Ladad. The other 42 cities of the Levim, it's only if you know that it's a city of refuge does it protect you. If you don't know, it doesn't protect you. The cities of the So says the Gemara, Vechevron ir miklatu. He says like this, Vechevron ir miklatu. Says what? Chevron is in miklat. He says, Vaktiv it's written, Vayitenu lekalev, right at Chevron, Kasha diver Moshe. He says it's written that they gave to Kalev Chevron, just like Moshe spoke. Meaning, Kalev is from Shevet Yehuda, and the Miklat were given to the Levim. So how could it be? Meaning, if Hebron was given to Kalev ben Yefuneh, so it can't be a city of Levim. So there can't be so then what's going on? Samar Abaye says, Parvedaha, right? They gave the to Kalev the Kfarim and the places around Hebron. But the actual city of Hebron was the Ear of the Levim. They gave the Sedea Yid in Chatzerea, which means the outskirts of the city. But the actual city in itself belonged to the Levim. Ask the Gemara, Kedesh Ir Miklat Avai. Kedesh is the one on the top left in the picture, right? Kedesh is an Ir Miklat, Vaktivit Shotim Vare Mivtzar, right? Atzadim Tzar V'chamed Rakat V'kinyan, V'kedesh V'drei V'nechatzor. The Tanya, we learned on the right, Arim Alalu, these cities, right? Enosin Otam Lo Tirin Ktani. You don't make them small cities, but not huge cities. Right? Because if they make it too big, then the Goel Adam could go in and you won't even realize because it's too big. And then he could come and he could kill the Rotzeach. But rather, you have to make them Ayarim Benonim. You have to make them middle-sized cities, right? So therefore, you could still track who's in the city or not. Meaning, once a city becomes too big, you can't track anybody anymore. It's out of your hands. It's out of control. It's out of proportion. So therefore, but if it's too small, they also didn't want to do that. So because they had to make sure that they have everything. Because imagine a small little tiny village. The guy's there. He feels, suffocated. So he wants to get out. No. You have to make it like a nice size city. Okay? So Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, you're right. Tarte Kedesh Havai. There are two cities called Kedesh, right? So therefore, that's what he's saying. One of them was a fortified city, and one was a middle-sized city. So that one was the one which was the Ir Miklat. Ravashi comes and he says, Kegon slikum ve'akra dislikum. It's like slikum and akra dislikum. So one of them is like a bigger one and a smaller one. Fine. Says the Gemara Gufa, we learned Adi Malalu, these cities, and we're not going to make them not small cities and not huge cities, but rather middle-sized cities. Then you have to put them by water. If there's no water, then they have to bring water. It has to be in places where they have marketplaces. It has to be that there's people there. Right? Why? Because that way they're going to protect them. Yeah? So it says over here that they have to have cities around them as well. Because that way the Goel Adam cannot come up with a huge army and just like take over the entire city. If there's all of a sudden little people around them, we add on to them. If there's too little people living there, we're going to bring Kohanim Levim in Israelim, and we never sell in the city. We never sell anything of traps or weapons in the city. These are the words of Rabbi Nehemiah. Chachamim say, no, you're permitted to. But you're not allowed to put traps there. And you're not allowed to put chavalim. So he won't be there. So imagine, like, it's something very, very smart that they made it in such a fashion, right, that they know that there's not going to be any type of of the arms and all these things there. So now he comes and he says like this. So he says, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says of Yitzchak, my kra, what is the pasuk that tells you that they're going to come and they have to give them everything, meaning they have to give them food and water and everything. You have to make sure that he's going to live in that city. Meaning, if you're going to send him to a Ir Miklat Misken, remember, the guy did it accidentally. He's not a murderer, I don't know what. You understand? He did it accidentally. You understand? So now, the fact that he did it accidentally, so then what happens is you're going to come and you're going to send it, and then he's not going to have water. He's not going to have food. So what's he going to do? He's going to die there because he's got a sakana of leaving the country, leaving the city. So they have to make sure that he has everything that he needs. Okay? Tana, we learned in a Braita. Talmid shegala maglin lo rabbi mo. If a talmid goes to exile, the rabbi has to go to exile as well. He says, why? Shneimar says the pasuk v'chai. You have to do to him something which he's going to live by. Amar bizera says a bizera. Mikan shelo yishanei adam talmid. From here, we learn that a person should never teach a student that he's not going to be proper. Why? Because of his sins, he could kill accidentally. And therefore, the rabbi himself has to go to Galut. So you see from here that the rabbi is held responsible for his students. He can't just take any student. Because if he takes any student, it's a problem. All of a sudden, the guy is a rasha, or he does certain things. What happens? He kills accidentally. Now the rabbi has to go to Galut as well. Amar, right? Amar Rav Yohanan. Harav shegala megalin shivato imo. The same halacha all the way. The rabbi goes to galut, the entire city has to go to galut with him. The entire yeshiva goes to galut with him. And he says the Gemara, is it so? How do we know that divrei Torah protect? Right? Which means, why in the world does he have to go? The Torah in itself is like a miklat, is going to save him. So answers the Gemara, it's not a question. It all depends if he's learning it or not. Meaning Torah protects a person like a nir miklat only when he's studying it. If he's not studying it, it doesn't protect. So therefore, unless the guy's learning 24/7, it's not going to protect him. That's why he has to go. By tema, or if you want, you could say, what does it mean koltin? It's only koltin mimalach hamavet, from a natural death, not from a murder of a goel adam. Meaning, the goel adam has a mitzvah to avenge the blood of his relative. So therefore, that is not going to protect you. It's only going to protect from the malach hamavet, but not anything else. Just like Rav Chasta Rav, he was learning in the academy of Rav. The malach hamavet could not come close to him because he wouldn't stop learning Torah. So he went out and he was sitting outside on the cedar tree in the bed of the dash. Parka arza, it broke and it made a huge noise. The shatik, so he stopped. And that's when he killed him. Meaning the malach hamavet was not able to get to Rav Chasta. He was always learning Torah. What did he do? He made a huge bang. All of a sudden, the huge tree fell. You know when you get a shock, you stop for a second, you say, hey, what went on? Boom. That's exactly when he got him. Yeah, that's exactly when he got him. Amar b'Tanchum Chanilai. He says b'Tanchum Chanilai. Why is it that Reuven was the first city to be called under the Ir Miklat? It says, because he started the saving first. Meaning, even though it comes out, right, that they had much more murderers in his area, but the fact that he started saving Yosef HaTzadik, he was the one that started the saving, trying to save him, so therefore we started with Arem Miklat, with his city, right, which was going to be of the Shayach of the Reuven. Darash of Simlai. מה דכתיב עוזרים מן הפסוק, אז הבדיל משה שלוש ימים ודרך מזרחה שמש, מה לקדוש ברוך הוא למשה? הזרח שמש של רוצחים. You have to prepare, right, all the necessities for the רוצחים, for the murderers. יקדם לי, אמר לו, יזרח את השמש של רוצחים, it's like a question, right, which means that it's good what you did. Why? Because you went and you started preparing for them, right, a part. Darash, right, basically like a place to run away. Darash b'simai, there's a very famous Gemara, listen to this. Darash b'simai, מה דכתיב עוזרים מן הפסוק, אוהב כסף לא ישבע כסף. Somebody that loves money is never satiated by money. He always wants more. Sure. Yeah. So he says, "Umi ohev be'amon lo tevua," right? And the one that loves, right, will always have tevua. What does that mean over here? He says, "Ohev kesef lo yizba kesef," means somebody that loves mitzvot, they're not satiated by mitzvot. Here, kesef means mitzvot. Why? This is Moshe Rabbeinu. שהיה יודע שאין שלוש הערים שבעבר ידן קולטות עד שלא נבחרו שלוש בארץ כנען. Right? ואמר, מצווה באה לידי, הקיימנה. Meaning like this. Moshe Rabbeinu already knew that the shesh harei miklat only take into form when there's 6. As long as there's 3, it doesn't protect anybody. Now the question is, can Moshe Rabbeinu designate the 3 in Eretz Canaan? Can he designate the 3? Why not? No, but why can't he designate them in Eretz Canaan? Moshe Rabbeinu, he was never there. He was never there. Meaning he wasn't able to go into Israel. So if he was never able to go into Israel, even if he designated the 3 cities outside of Eved HaYaden, meaning outside of Israel, it doesn't help. Because until you don't do the 3 inside, it's not 6. So it doesn't count. Moshe Rabbeinu still said, I have a mitzvah, let me do it. Me, even though I can't finish off the mitzvah, but let me start. Ohev kesef, lo yisbak kesef. When you love mitzvot, you'll never be enough with mitzvot. You want to do more mitzvot, and more mitzvot, and more mitzvot. Why? You want to do them. There's not going to be a difference. Umi ohev be'amon lo tevua, lemina na'el lelamed be'amon. Who's the one that's fitting to teach in the public? Right? Mishekol tevua shelo. Somebody that has a lot of tevua, which means that he's got Mikra, Mishnah, he's got a lot of Torah. Who's going to sing the praises of Hashem is going to make them sing this Tila. Meaning, once you know so much Torah, that's when you're able to come and start giving dirashot and start coming and teaching Torah to the masses. V'Rabbanan, and according to rabbis, V'itema Rabbi Mariaman, and some people say Rabbi Mari, Mi ohev ba'amon lo tevua, kol ohev be'amon lo tevua. Anybody that loves Talmidei Chachamim, right, that they have so much Torah, they're going to have also, right, Banim Talmidei Chachamim, right? So Yavu berabanan nayu berava berei derabba. So they went and they put their eyes on the son of Rabba, which Rabba used to love Talmidei Chachamim so much that he was zochet to a lot of Talmidei Chachamim Banim. Meaning when you come and you see it, and the truth is this, they see it. The children, right, they look up to the parents and they see who do they aspire to. So if the children come and they see that for the parents it's the most important, I don't know what, so then for them that's what they want also. But when they see that their parents love so much Tamdei Chachamim, so you know what happens? It means that the children come and they grow up and they say, you know what? I also want to be a Tamdei Chacham. Because my parent loves so much Tamdei Chachamim, I want to be that person that parent loves so much. So I want to be a Tamdei Chacham. So therefore they're going to be Zochet to Banim Tamdei Chachamim. That was the new start of the day. Yeah? Siman, right? He says, Ashi lilmod ravina lamed. Ravashi says, Kol aohev lilmod be'amon. When you love to learn with a lot of friends, lo tevua. He's going to have a lot of grain, a lot of Torah. That's what Yosef Chanina says. There's going to be a sword to the ones that learn by themselves. There's going to be a sword on the haters and the enemies of Talmidei Chachamim. They're going to be sitting and learning Torah by themselves. And not only that, they become stupid. They become foolish. It says, well, exactly, we learned it in Talit. Which means when a person learns by themselves, they don't realize a mistake. When you learn with a chavrutar, you learn with a lot of people. So then they're all arguing in the learning. So therefore, I learned one way, you learned another way, we learned everyone, and then they get to the truth. Here, when you're learning by yourself, you don't know the truth because you think, yeah, this is the way. That's it. You don't realize that there's another explanation of how to learn it. So therefore, it says over here, did you realize, by the way, that the pasuk the first time said, it said lo tevua, lo with an aleph. Then, but it's a kriuchtiv, and that's why it says lo with a vav. He has tevua. To him is going to have tevua. Okay? Next. Ravina says, if you teach in the public, you're going to have a lot of tevuah. Rabbi, that's what Rabbi says. A lot of Torah I learned from my rabbis, and from my students, from my friends more, from my students even more. Right? I actually heard a chidush on this, an incredible chidush one. So you guys listening? That what happens, we think that I learned a lot from my rabbis. I learned more from my friends. And from my students, I learned the most. He says, but you have to put all of them together. Meaning that when you come and you learn Torah, when you're learning the Torah, and it says, Talmidai yutemi kulan, it means you learn from Talmidai even more than what you learn from your rabbis and your chaverim together. Meaning, if a person has a choice, I could have rabbanim, and then he could have chavrutot, and then he could have students. Right? Obviously, you have to go in that order because if a person starts having students without having rabbanim, he's lost stock. Yeah, that's a lot, right? He doesn't know anything. Understand? Kilo, he wants to be a rabbi. He doesn't know anything. Understand? But when he goes in that order, that he has a lot of friends and first a lot of students, a lot of rabbis, and then the students, the friends, and then the rabbis. So then what happens is that when he gets to the Talmidim, he's going to learn more than what he learned from his rabbanim and the friends together. Because the students come and they sharpen him up so much. Many times until today, right? They come, they ask the questions, and then you have to ask your rabbis again, and then you continue going, and it's always a limud. It's not some people think it's like a university. I got a bachelor's, that's it. Right? I got a master's, gamarnu. No. This is all the life. You continue learning. It doesn't exist. You have to continue and continue and continue. The Torah never ends. You just have to continue learning. Okay? Fine. Amar Yeshua Levi. Says Yeshua Levi, pasuk. Who are the ones that cause their feet to stand in milchama? Shari Yerushalayim. Why? Because they were learning Torah. Says right, there's a song to David Melech. I was happy when they used to say that we want to go to Bet Hashem. Says David Melech in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I heard people saying, when is this zaken going to die? Think about it. David HaMelech died at the age of 70, and they were already calling him a zaken, right? V'yavo Shlomo beno, and Shlomo HaMelech is going to come, v'yivnei bet HaBikri, and build the Bet HaMikdash v'non regel, v'samachti, I was happy. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, meaning David HaMelech was such a tzaddik. He went and he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm happy that they want me to die in order they could go to the Bet HaMikdash. I'm happy. So he says, Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ki tov yom b'chatzerecha me'alef. He says, it's better to have one day in your chatzer than 1,000 days. He says, Tov li yom echad shata osek b'Torah lefnai. It's better one day that you're learning Torah me'elef olot shatit Shlomo Michal akriv lefnai b'mizbeach than the 1,000 korbanot that Shlomo Melech is going to be on the mizbeach. Meaning, David HaMelech's one day learning Torah was shaveh more than the 1,000 korbanot of Shlomo Melech. It's a powerful statement. So the Ruch Laner actually says it's twofold. Number one, it shows us the power of Torah over korbanot, over tefillah. Plus, it shows us the power of David HaMelech over everybody else. So look how incredible was David HaMelech. David HaMelech was which one? Torah. Tefillah is korbanot. Tefillah is like korbanot, but Torah is much more powerful than tefillah. Of course, when I come and I see people that they come and they start reading Tehillim instead of coming for a shiur Torah, right? I know that there are me'aratzot. They don't know anything. Why? Because when you know the power of Torah, Torah is a million times greater than what it is anything that you could do. You understand? So he says, right? And then they come and they start putting them different places to go to the Arem Miklat, right? So he says, Tanya, we learned in the right, Elmaleh ben Yaakov come and he says, Miklat, Yoda Mubet, 10b. Miklat Ayakatuva Parashat Drachim. It used to be written Miklat, meaning anybody that was traveling used to see in big words Miklat, right? The Arem Miklat. Okay, so that way the Rotzeach would know. If he's going to run there. Rav Kana says, what's the pasuk? Tachin lecha aderech, haseh lecha chana laderech. Which means you have to prepare for him the path. Which means you have to mamash make a preparation so that way he could. Meaning you have to have a lot of signs so that way they know exactly where they're going. Rav Chama bar Chanina. So Rav Chana bar Chanina, he went and he's opened up a pasuk and he started like this. Tov yashar Adonai lekel yorei chataim adarech. What does that mean? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is yashar, he's good and yashar, straight. That he's going to show the chataim the derech. Im lechataim yorei kavachom letzadikim. If he's going to show the derech to the reshaim in order to save them, which means that he's going to come and put all the signs. Meaning, whenever there was a fork in the road, it always had to tell you which way to go to the Yir Miklat. Kavachomer for the tzadikim. Shimon ben Lakish patala petach dameacha. Bashel lo tzada that he didn't plan to kill. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought it to his hands. Just like Mishal Kadmonim is going to say, Min Resha. From the Reshaim is going to come out Resha. What are we talking about? There were two people that killed. One of them killed Bishogeg, and one of them killed B'mezid. Nobody had edim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mizmina lepundak echad. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he puts them into a pundak. The one that killed B'mezid is underneath the sulam. And this one that killed Bishogeg is going down the sulam, and then he falls on him. Or he kills him. So the one that killed B'mezid is going to be killed. Bishogeg is going to go to Galut because now he's got Elim. Everyone understood what happened? One more time. In order to go to Galut, you need Edim. In order to be killed, because if somebody murders, they need Edim. There were two people that they killed. One killed purposely, right? And one of them accidentally. But nobody had Edim. So technically, they're all scot-free. They're off the hook. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the one that killed on purpose underneath the ladder. And the one that kills by accident, he puts him going down the ladder. The guy's going down the ladder, he falls, and he kills the guy underneath. Who's the guy underneath? The murderer, the one that killed purposely. So what happens now? Kaddish. Now he got his death sentence. Now the one that killed accidentally, that was going down, now there's witnesses. So now there's witnesses, he has to go to Arem Miklat. You understand? That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, whether it's from the Torah Nevim Mektuvim, whichever way you want to go, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to direct you. What does that mean? The path that you choose is the path that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to direct you. Tichtiv says by Bilam, lo telech mehem. I don't want you to go with them. Then what happened? Uchtiv kum lech itam, go with them. Min Nevim it says, Ani Hashem lo kabel l'chal olil, right? I'm going to teach you where to go. Right? So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses. Once you choose the path, HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches you. Because for the letzim is going to be yalitz. At the end, they're going to help him to become a letz. But the people that are humble, he's going to give them chen, because chen is the people that are going to be humble, obviously. So Amar Ravuna says, Rotzeach shegala le'im miklat, a Rotzeach that goes to the Eid miklat, mitzao gol adam v'rago. And now the gol adam comes and he kills him. He's going to be patur. Why? Kasavar, he thought to say, V'lo mishpat mavet begol adam udichtiv. When it says that he's not going to be killed, that's talking about the gol adam. Meaning the gol adam comes and he kills him. He's going to be patur. Says, right? Right? So this is talking about that on the way to the Yimiklat, he kills him. Okay, Meitzvei, so they ask a question, Velo mishpa mavet, when does he not get death? שברוצח, כתוב מדבר, סוג סתם על הרוצח, אתה אומר ברוצח או אינו בגול אדם, אתה אומר ברוצח או גול אדם, אז כשהוא אומר, כי לא שונא רעהו לו מטבעו של שומר, ואומר ברוצח, כתוב מדבר, we're talking about the רוצח, because that's the end of the pasuk is also talking about רוצח. So therefore, since the end of the pasuk is talking about רוצח, so he said that the beginning is also talking about רוצח. So it comes out that there's no pasuk coming to exempt the gol adam if he kills the רוצח. So he says, no, who dama ketana yells like this. The Tanya will learn to the right of Rom Mishpa Mavet, Begol Adam Katuv Midber. אתה אומר בגול אדם כתוב מדבר ברוצח, אז כשהוא אומר לו כאילו סודם ונשמור לרוצח חמור, המאני מקיים ולא משפע מוות, גול אדם כתוב מדבר. So it's teaching you that a גואל אדם does not get killed if he's going to kill the רוצח on the path. Meaning, remember, the גואל אדם is the one that's avenging the death. Okay? Okay. Tran, we learned in the Mishnah. מוסרים לו שני תלמידי חכמים, שמא יהרגנו בדרך. It's all like this. They're going to give the רוצח two תלמידי חכמים in order, right, to be protecting him. By Dabru Alav, they're going to speak to him. My level, not on the Matubeh, they're going to warn him. Meaning, why do you need two Tamidei Chachamim? To give him a warning. If you kill this guy, you're going to be killed. No. That if he kills, he's going to be killed. Says, no. The Tanya was learned to write of Dabru Alav, they tell him certain things. Omlimlo, they tell him. Don't act with him like a Shofech Damim. It was by accident. Rabbi says, no, he speaks to himself. These are the words of רוצח. They said, he says, many times it could be that it's going to be shluchim. It's going to do much more than what meaning many times when you send a shaliach, it has much more bigger effect than when it's done on your own. So Amar more and more says, obviously it was done by accident. It doesn't go to galut. So yes. We learned when he kills at the beginning, everybody has to go to the Miklat. And then Betin come and they bring him. They killed him. But the one that's not going to be חייב מיתה, פטרו, they used to make him פטור, שנאמר, והצילו את הרוצח מיד גול אדם, ומי נתחייב גלות, the one that was חייב גלות, they're going to take him back there. שנאמר, והשיבו אותו ידע על מקלתו שנשמה, רבי אומר, רבי says מעצמן, on his own, Golim. They used to go to Galut on their own. They used to think, they used to think that it was always protects. But they only know that if it's going to be B'Shogeg, it protects, not a Mizid. Meaning, imagine in the beginning, they thought they could murder someone, and then they go to the Miklat and nothing happens. It's not true. It's only if it was done by accident. Okay? It's only if it was done by accident. Amar Bilazar says Bilazar, yeah, Ir Sheruba Rotzchim. When you have a city that the majority of them are Rotzchim, Ena Koletet, it's not going to be Kolet. Shneimar, it cannot be that they're all, meaning imagine right now you have a city that the majority of the people are murderers. They're all murder, so you can't have that. It doesn't protect. Right? When you have a city that does not have zekenim, you need the zekenim. Why? So it's a problem. It cannot be you need ziknair. Okay? Itmar, it was stated. Ir Shem Bazekinim, Rabbi Amir Ravasi. Chadama, one of them says Cholet, Chadama no collected. According to the Mandama no collected by Inan Zikna Ir Veleka, you don't have it. The Mandama collected, the one that says it's collected, it's a mitzvah be'alma. It's a regular mitzvah. Ir Shem Bazekinim and Ir Shem Bazekinim, Rabbi Amir Ravasi. Chadama, one of them says Nasa ben Soren More. Chadama, one of them says Nasa ben Soren. According to the Mandama Nasa ben Soren More by Inan Zikna Ir Veleka, you don't have it. According to the Mandama that you don't need that it becomes ben Soren More, mitzvah be'alma. It's only a mitzvah that they should have Zikna Ir. Basically, again, once we say that you need ziknair, if you don't have zikanim, what's going to happen now? So if you need ziknair for the ben soren, what's going to happen? The other shita just says, no, it's a mitzvah to have them. It's not a chovah to have them. It's a mitzvah to have them. It's good if you have them. But if you don't have them, you still make a ben soren. Right? V'yir shemba zikanim. Can you bring the glarufa? One of them says, you don't bring the glarufa. According to the Mandama, you need you don't have it. But according to the Mandama, that you could bring it, it's a mitzvah be'alma, the same answer. That basically, it's only a mitzvah to have them. It's not an obligation to have them. Okay? Amar Rav Chama Rav Chanina, Mipnei ma na'amra parashat rotzchim. Why did they say parashat rotzchim? Belashon azah, Yud Aleph and Yud Aleph on the top. Belashon azah, which means vaydaber instead of vayomer. Vaydaber is always stronger. Vayomer is lighter. Tichtiv vaydaber Hashem l'nishol lemor, daber v'nisel lemor, tunu lechem min hamikal shedbarti lechem. Why? So he says mipnei shehen shel Torah, because it comes from the Torah. It's a mitzvah min Torah. So he says what? Lemeimra d'chol dibur lashon kasher. You're going to tell me that it's always going to be kasher? It's always going to be strong? So answers in yes. Kediktiv says Diberi Haish Adonai Haaretz Itanu Kashot. He came and he spoke to us very, very strong. V'atani, we learned to the right as Nibiru Lashon Nachat. Here it's lat nachat. It's nicely, softly, calmly, gently. V'chen Omer Yad Beramim Tachtenu. So it says no Diber Lechud v'Yadber Lechud. Right? He says each one is a different mashmut. Daber, right? Daber Abnei Yisrael, or right? Daber is azah. It's strong. Yadber or Nidberu. That's nachat. That's calm, right? That's going to be very, very calm.